So we've done that in the past, and of course, sometimes you might be listening to this and be thinking that's a bit crazy. But again, like I said, if you really go into your numbers, you look at your performance, and you find that this person being here actually contributed a lot towards the whole team's output, then I think there's no reason why not to lah.
Building an SME is never smooth. Growth is hard, challenges are constant, and bad advice can set you back. Hi, my name is Khadijah from Accounting Superhero. As a management support executive in this company, my role is to assist the company's management and directors in the stewardship of this company. Every week, I book a one-to-one mentoring with my boss, Mr. Faz, so that I can perform better in my role. Join me as I go through a range of topics relevant with SME business owners like yourself who are keen to grow your business and ascend to the next level. Before I start, I just want to share that whatever is being shared here is based on real advice and experience from a professional chartered accountant for more than 20 years of industry experience. Mr. Faz is a no bullshit kind of person. Are you ready? Let's go!
Hi everyone, it's that time of the year again. Performance reviews, staff expectations, and whispers of salary adjustment. As a business owner, especially in challenging times, you may feel torn between rewarding loyalty and managing rising operational costs. So, let's talk about the questions a business owner asks at least once a year. Should I give my staff a pay raise this year? So, hi Mr. Faz.
Hi Khadijah, how are
Hi,
you?
how are you? I'm good.
Alhamdulillah, all good.
How are you?
Okay, good.
Okay, so the famous topic, or basically the hot topic that business owners usually have is like, should I give my staff a pay raise this year? Basically, it usually comes up upon performance reviews, bonus season, and also when staff start hinting or directly asking. Maybe from your point of view, what financial checks should business owners look at before deciding a pay raise? Maybe you can just like elaborate further on this. Yeah.
Okay, Ken, thank you for asking this, Khadijah. So I think it is normal when we run a business as a business owner. It is very important for us to actually assess our business and make sure that we're in the right frame of capability to actually pay better to our staff. And for me, I think the main consideration I feel should be is this: it is not easy to get the right people. Acquisition of talent is costly. So I think it's important to keep the right people. So that also means that if you're able to actually give a pay raise, you should. Right. So but before that, let's look at maybe assessing first the business financial health. Okay. Before making any commitments, there are certain things that every business owner should do, which is number one, to review cash flow. Okay. So look at the last 3 months or the last 6 months and see how you have performed so far. Look at free cash flow. What is your residual cash flow, which is not tied for any commitments? Right? Okay, that's for the past 3 to 6 months. Then do a projection. For the next 3 to 6 months, look at, say, sustaining the same amount in that sense, or adjusting it for your known factors. I mean, if you're able to look at your consistent performance over the past maybe 1 year, and you can project over the next 3 to 6 months better. Looking into account, certain months are usually better or slower, right? In terms of your normal performance over the past 12 months, project the next 3 to 6 months. Okay, look at how much your actual free cash flow will be. If you are able to actually sustain a higher salary salary amount per month, assuming no other changes, then why not? At least you already know for sure that you should be able to handle this. Okay. At the same time, look at profit margins as well. So a business should always run for profit, right? So look at profit margins. Is it stable? Is it growing? Okay. if you are running a business in such a way that your profit margin is very, very small, look for ways to actually grow it, so that even a 1% growth in terms of profit margins will translate to your ability to actually pay better,
I see.
right? And last but not least, in assessing a business financial health, look at revenue growth. So revenue is your top line, right? The total sales. So this should be something which every business owner aspire to grow every year, right? So a yearly growth will have to come from a monthly growth. So if possible, every month, try to grow a little bit. Even a 1% growth every month translates to maybe an annual growth of maybe 10 to 12%. So if you're able to do that, at least you know that your revenue is on the on the uptrend. At least you can support a better salary figure in future.
I see.
Yeah. So in Singapore and in Malaysia, both countries, when payroll increases, it's not just about the salary which increases. So there will be other mandatory expenses as well. So things like EPF and CPF, as well as other like levies and all that will also be packed towards salaries. So this will also increase. So a business owner will need to factor this in as well. Yep.
So basically, like another thing business owners struggle with is knowing whether they are paying too little or too much. So how important is benchmarking salaries against the market? If you could like elaborate better on this.
Okay, sure. First and foremost, right? Okay, I will give you the straight answer, then I'll give you my answer. Okay. So when actually paying salaries, I think it's very important to peg your salaries to market rates. Okay, this means that you need to do some research lah. So as a business owner, go into all the main recruitment sites like JobStreet. Do check what they are actually recommending. Okay, and then at the same time, if you are operating under a certain industry where it's regulated, or the body which you're under, the ministry which you're under, has their own set of like predetermined guidelines. Like for example, if in Singapore you're operating as a early childhood education center, then the ministry of like there's MSF and there's other ministries as well which provide some guidelines as to how much normally teachers are being paid. So they have this available. It's good to actually make sure you benchmark to them, okay? Because whoever you hire, they are gonna be exposed to these salaries in the industry. So it's gonna be hard for you to actually pay something lesser and retain people as well. So it's very important to do that lah. Another thing is look at competitors as well. So I would say within your industry, also look at your competitors. Look at what kind of advertisements they are actually,
Advertisement.
they're placing as well. Check them out, see what they're paying. Okay, because you can be offering a certain amount, but how much your competitors are paying, that will be your actual competition in terms of finding talent. So you need to be very, very wary of that lah. Right? Okay, now on my own personal belief is this. I believe that recruitment sites will always inflate salaries.
Will always?
Will always inflate salaries.
Okay.
I think government sites will also always inflate salaries, which is normal lah. I think it's normal. Why so? Recruitment sites will inflate because to show a good employment outlook. At the same time, they also offer placement services, which they earn a percentage from the salaries as well. And they also want employees to sign up with them. So they are offering a service, right? So they'll want to make sure they show that there's a better future for you out there. Come and join us so I can find you a better job.
Basically,
All
I would
this
say like
is
that is like the third party services. No?
yes. Not database services. They are helping employees find another job. So they, in order for someone to leave that job that they currently have, they want to go to a better job, right?
Yeah.
Better pay, right?
Better.
So obviously they will try to sell a promise that you can get better somewhere else. So when they say that, look, if you are working in this position, you should be getting this amount. Whether it's true or not, nobody knows lah. So the point is, that is business lah, something. But having said that, I think it's important that every business owner stay current, and it's more important to me to look at competitors. So how much your competitor is paying, you should be paying that amount or a bit more. Or structure your remuneration in such a way that I pay you the same as competitors, but I give you more in terms of other value
Oh,
items as
I
well.
see.
So make it a good deal.
Basically, like put that as a benchmark lah.
Yes.
Can.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, if like regarding this pay raise, people always like peg this to like staff performance. So what are your thoughts on this?
Okay. So you're asking whether pay raise should only be given to the top performers of the company.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say yes and no. Both. Okay. Why? Because if you say your top performer is someone who brings in good revenue to the business,
Mm-mm.
right? So by having that person, I know I will be able to get a better top line, better revenue. Then yes, you will need to pay the person more because the person can generate for you. Okay. At the same time, that is not the only way. That's not the only criteria. A person can be a top performer in preventing losses as well, right? So it's one thing to earn, it's another thing to lose what you earn. So you need to consider that as well. So for me, I look at someone who I value looks after my clients. That is valuable. A person can be very, very high performing, earn the revenues and everything, but the person cannot deal with the rest of the stuff. It's a toxic person. Then there's another issue also. So you know how to manage that as well. You need to actually pay better or consider this in terms of pay raise and everything. Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yes. But then again, the rest of the stuff, they may be contributing in some other way to keep the performance level moving as well.
I see.
So it shouldn't be just about turnover lah. You should think about risks. Okay. You think about the losing the stuff as well. So personally for me, performance is one. Second one is who are the key individuals in the company that you cannot afford to lose.
This podcast has been brought to you by Accounting Superhero, your trusted partner for Zero and SME compliance in Singapore and Malaysia. Switch up to Accounting Superhero today.
So for them, you need to look after them. Because if you lose people, finding the next person to fill that void is a challenge. So yeah, that's how I think lah.
So basically, does pay raise equal to top performance or added responsibilities?
Okay, so pay raise can be two. Number one can be just to account for higher cost of living and things like that lah. Okay, so for this, I would say look at the country, look at the consumer price index or something. Whatever it goes up, you pay higher. So if they say that CPI has went up by 3%, consumer price index, things are getting more expensive by 3%, and pay 5% more.
I see.
That's a small increase. Okay, this is to help with cost. So cost aside, that one get settled. Okay, so now in terms of performance or in terms of responsibility, the answer is a resounding yes. Never pay someone more if you're not going to get more from that person. Full stop. Because it's always true that when you pay more, you expect the person to perform better. When you pay more, you want the person to be able to handle better things. So that is something which is expected lah.
I see.
So responsibility wise, make sure it is something which the person can handle. Do not throw a responsibility onto someone and expect them to be able to handle it. So what I'm trying to say is, do not immediately go and give a pay raise for a new responsibility. Test it out first. So Khadijah, I want to offer you this particular redesigned job scope with this added responsibility and this added increment. Okay, we're gonna try for 3 months. Can? Let's sign. We try for 3 months. During these 3 months, I'll pay you a allowance for the difference, the increment. If at the end of 3 months you can handle it, they will convert it into salary. That's how it is. So the pressure is there, but at least the employee also knows if I really cannot handle it, it's okay. Fair, right? Yeah. That is responsibility lah. But performance is another matter. Performance, you need to actually have certain benchmarks lah. So you try and look, this is your job is to make sure that these certain KPIs are met. These are the additional KPIs for next year. Are you okay to accept this new performance targets lah? And this is the pay package which I will offer you. So normally for them, high performers, they know what they're doing. They are able to handle more. They want the challenge and they also want the better pay.
I see.
So inshallah, okay.
So it's like a win-win situation lah. Okay, can understand. Basically, right, if a business decide to give a raise, it doesn't always have to be like a straight salary increase. So in your opinion, what are some smarter ways to structure pay raises without putting too much pressure on the cash flow?
Okay. That's a very good question, Khadijah. Okay. So when structuring the remuneration, I think dollar value is important, right? So monetary value is important such that you have to structure it with a proper increment and all that, which is fine. So do that. But I think there should be two other things which you need to also put into the package lah, which is number one, non-monetary perks. So this I would say is flexibility. So I tell you honestly, right, in the past, there's no such thing as flexibility. Okay. In current times and in future, and especially post-COVID, flexibility is key. At the same time, our world is becoming increasingly stressful. I think it's very important for us to acknowledge it as business owners that everybody, including us, business owners and our employees, we should all have a bit more flexibility in terms of hours of work, in terms of being able to come in late or go back early, or hybrid work arrangements, work from home, work in the office and all that, as long as it doesn't affect productivity, as long as it's not subject to any abuse, as long as it's not abused by the staff, and as long as employees and employers are willing to respect this arrangement for the good of the company, then it should be done, right? So flexibility, I think, is key, and I think it's one of those things that will help employees be more open to stay in the company, because it shows that they are also being valued, not just from a financial standpoint, but because their ability to stand on their own feet, to get things done in your own time is being respected as well. So I think it's very important.
It basically helps with the retention lah.
Yes, a lot. I feel a lot. Last but not least, you can also structure the remuneration to include things like deadline management, project completion and things like that. So or maybe they cross a certain milestone, then they get a certain increase lah. This is good for accountability, and it's good for them to actually really stay in a lane and be focused in their work lah. They really cross that milestone, they get it, no issue.
I see. Okay, understand. So now let's hear from like an accounting perspective. What advice do you usually give to business owners when it comes to salary increment?
Okay. I think salary increment to me is two parts lah. So number one is actually is a compensation to the staff for the time and to the work that they do, right? But at the same time, it's also an investment lah. So it's an investment because whatever that you pay to your employees, you want to treat them right lah. I think we are all human beings. At the end of the day, you treat people right, inshallah, they will also treat you right.
Yeah, when we do good will come back to you.
Yes, correct. So I think that's a very important premise on how we run the business lah. So I guess looking at that, don't commit to raises which you can't sustain lah. So it must be something which at the end of the day, the figures must make sense. So we must be growing, then our employee costs can also go up as well. No issue, right? Because the moment you actually do an increment, you cannot next one minus
Yeah,
cancel.
you cannot undo that.
Yeah, it's a one-way street. Yeah, so it's not practical to cancel it later on. So make sure this is something which you can commit lah. Right. Salary increases must be in the projections. So see your accountant, do your projections for the next 12 to 24 months. Make sure that your business can sustain it as well. Okay, and please make sure all the other expenses which are attached to remuneration are also covered. Things like your statutory contributions, CPF, EPF for Malaysia, and also other things like levies and all that. Make sure all of these are properly factored in as well. So for me, I use a very simple factor. I just take the salary amount times 1.9. That becomes the total employee cost lah. So I just take that. So if you want to do that, go right ahead lah.
What does 1.9 mean?
That means it's a factor lah. So if the person's salary is 2,000, I'll times 1.9 and I get 3.8, for example. That is the actual salary of the person.
Oh.
Yeah, taking into account MC, taking into account leave, taking into account everything lah. Yeah.
The 1.9 is adjustable or how?
It is based on my calculations.
Oh, yeah. Your own calculation lah.
Yes. So what I did was I literally put down all the employee costs, CPF lah, everything lah, everything. Then the total figure there divided by the actual salary is 1.9.
See.
Makes sense now? Yes. And then last but not least, make sure you have some HR procedures in place which you can justify every salary increase. Don't just give a salary increase to people you like or they're your favorite staff or whatever it is. Don't lah, right? Make sure that it's justified, right? By whatever factors that you've considered, their performance, future performance, perhaps certain flexibility or retention reasons. Make sure it's properly justified and documented properly, so that this exists in the employee records for future. There's always something for you to go back and review and to check on if there's a need lah. At the same time, every increment must be accompanied by a letter. So do not just give a salary increment without a letter in place. And just how I touch on any change in scope of work, there's a responsibility and things like that. Make sure you write to the employee, tell them this is your plan. If they accept it, ask them to sign first. Then you start paying out the responsibility allowance lah.
I see. Thank you so much for your detailed
Most
explanation,
welcome.
Mr. Faz. So as usual, Mr. Faz, I just want to hear like if you will have like any horror stories like from the salary increment or any like challenges that you face regarding this matter lah.
I will share with you something which is happened in our own company lah, based on my own experience. Alright.
Okay.
So again, this is not from any client. It's from our own experience as well. So it's like this. Okay. Generally speaking, I've done many ways to retain employees in the past, including salaries, including increments, including bonuses and everything. And even when there is no clear possibility of higher performance. Okay. Let me explain to you why. Sometimes there could be a situation where you need a certain person to be around in order for you to actually get a better performance, not just from that person, but maybe from the rest who are in the person's group, in their whole group. So this person, by just being there, you get a better performance. So who do you pay the risk? I would include that person as well. Okay. At the end of the day, if I were to consider a step up in performance, although the person didn't actually yield a certain result that I want, but because the person was there, it stimulated the whole team to actually have a better result.
Oh.
So if I were to pay a bonus to the rest of them, I will also pay to that person. Even if it comes to the situation where this person say, I want to resign. Okay. I will still consider giving a certain amount
For
to that
bonus.
person. Yes. It may not be a full amount or some full amount in that sense, but maybe a token sum. Okay. That is just for me to say thank you to that person, because when the person was here, that person actually contributed towards a better outcome from the whole team itself.
I see.
So we have done that in the past, and of course sometimes you might be listening to this and be thinking that's a bit crazy. But again, like I said, if you really go into your numbers, you look at your performance and you find that this person being here actually contributed a lot towards the whole team's output, then I think there's no reason why not to lah. And I've been in the situation in the past where even when someone actually left and I did right by that person, you know, by the grace of God, when I needed someone to come in for a certain reason, I am happy to call that person and ask, hey, I have an opening. Do you want to consider coming and join us again? And that person actually come and join again, you know. And this has happened a few times. So the person come again and get good results again. Alhamdulillah. So to me, I think you need to just do right by your people.
I see.
Yeah. So that inshallah you also do right with you lah.
Yeah, thank you so much for your detailed explanation on this matter, Mr. Faz. So basically, let's quickly summarize some practical reminders
Sure.
for business owners. So the first one is don't promise raises you can't sustain. Second one, always budget salary increase from 12 to 24-month plan. And then factor in CPF or EPF, not just basic salary. And the last one is document clearly like why the raises are given lah. So it has like black and white, and people don't question like why these certain people like get increment or anything like that.
Yep.
Yeah, basically just be fair, but also be realistic lah.
Yep. Agreed.
So thank you so much for sharing your insights today, and thank you everyone for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode. If you'd like to know more on how to decide on a pay raise, we have prepared a checklist for you on our FTA website, faztheaccountant.com, for you to check it out. In the next episode, we uncover another interesting topic. How do I know if I'm charging the right price for my products or services? See you on the next episode. Bye.